By the way, to Al, good morning, and how are you, faithful Captain Niner here with your Captain and Coffee morning report for January. What day is this? January 30th. So we're almost to the end of this month. Has felt like it has gone on forever. Curious, if that's just me. So we're talking about today. The first thing we're talking about before we get into a couple of the guys we're going to look at the Senior Bowl is PFF put out a report. They did their top 15, both offense and defensive players, on who they thought um, their for free agencies for who and what they thought was going to be the best ranking or best place for them to land. I'm going to go when we do these three guys that we're going to do for the Niners. We're going to do them on most likely to leave first, and then who's most likely to stay last. And these are just again, it's just stuff put out by PFF. So let's get into PFF and see what they say. So let me switch this over. All right, let me change this so that's not gone. All right, so the first person on the list who I think is least likely to come back to the Niners, and that is going to be Charvarius Ward. Obviously, we know everything about Charvarius Ward and all the stuff that he went through personally. Uh, it's obviously just terrible. I mean, let's face it, 100%. Nobody wants to have anything to do with
Hi,
any of
I'm
that. Oh,
Sophie Thatcher.
sorry. Um, what he went through was a complete and utter tragedy. I mean, just absolutely terrible. He however, did say that he said, how do you put it? Like he didn't completely close the door on coming back to San Francisco, although he made it very clear that it's most likely not going to happen. I mean, he was talking about like having PTSD and stuff like that coming back, and how his girlfriend probably wouldn't want to come back with him because of everything that is going on. Completely understand. That said, it's going to suck on the aspect of the 49ers because I would have loved to have him back next year. Him in a right mental state, because like I said, I think there was other stuff going on with his daughter. Don't That's not just a guess, before her actual passing. So he was dealing with all that. Hence, that might have been some of the lack of play that he was having at times, which completely understand. I don't think anybody's ever going to knock him for his play declining when you have that to deal with outside. So again, no, that's not a knock on his play or anything like that. Just completely understandable. That said, but if he was to come back next year, head back on right, at least focused on all that kind of, got all the negative parts moved on. He had the birth of his son. Now they're doing positive things. To have that Charvarius back, we'd probably get back 2023 Charvarius. And you give me that Charvarius Ward, Demo Lenore, who is just getting better and better every single week, and the maturity of Renardo Green, that would honestly probably be the top, DB room in the league. I mean, you could not pass on that league. But again, most likely Demo is not, or excuse me, Charvarius is not going to be back. That said, they are thinking that the best landing spot for him is going to be with the New York Giants. I don't see that necessarily, because I don't agree with that one, just simply because the Giants are a team that's up and coming. Charvarius is a little bit on the older side. Probably wants to play with a team that's going to actually be winning, kind of a thing. So again, like I don't necessarily see him with that. But like I said, I think of the three, he's the least likely to come back to the team. All right, and so the guy that I'm putting a 50-50 chance on us coming back is Talanoa Hufanga, safety. I'm once again going to the Giants, and this one I see a little bit more. Huff's a little younger, and maybe not necessarily in the whole chasing a ring type part of his career yet. I also, like I said, I see his 50-50 because one, when Huff was back in, you can see the difference in how better the secondary got. Everything started moving a lot better. You can tell that he was taking point, playing that quarterback role back there. Everybody said that it was him vocalizing things that got everything back, uh, getting normal once he came back from his injury. But that there lies the problem with Huff, is the injury aspect. Um, he's just 26 old. He's 26. He's had a few injuries, but he's missed a lot of time. And my problem with that is that, do you want to have a chance it with him losing even more time due to injuries or anything else? I mean, it could be the point now to where he could never miss another game, kind of thing, because all his injuries in his career are done. But do you trust that kind of thing? So we will see. Um, The other thing with him is that I completely lost my train of thought. With this, there is a ton of good safeties in this year's draft, which is another reason why I don't think that he will probably be back. Is because if we do offer him a contract, I could see it being on the lower end, and honestly, we can get someone cheaper coming out of the draft for a few more years. So, like I said, that's why I think we're probably going to offer him a contract. It's going to be on the lower end. Someone like the Giants or whoever could probably offer him a better contract and all that. So we'll see. But like I said, I think that is a 50-50 chance with Huff coming back as far as being on the defensive side. And the one guy that I absolutely think that we need to sign, and I don't give a damn how you figure it out, we need to have Dre Greenlaw back on this team. He is you can think of Fred as being the brains. Well, if he's the brains, the heart and soul is Dre. Look, I love Fred. Fred is a good tackler. Fred is about as sure tackler as you can find in the league. That said, Dre is a hitter. Dre hits people. Dre lays down people, lays people out. He's the kind of guy that makes you start thinking about not going across the middle anymore. And while, like I said, with Fred's going to tackle, you're going to go down. There's not necessarily a fear of Fred when you go across the middle. It's just, I'm going to get tackled by Fred. When Dre hits you, it's like, oh, shit, where is Dre? So like I said, he only played, obviously, the half, the 34 snaps. The defense looked instantly better. Look back to its 2022 self, 2023 self, instantly with him back there. So again, I think we have to find a way to get Dre back there. Again, I don't give a damn what it takes. Bring Dre back. And with him, and this one's kind of ugly, the best landing spot for him would be the Rams, which I don't know. I think the best landing spot for him would actually be, playing up there with the Commanders next to Bobby Wagner. That would be a great tandem to have Bobby Wagner and Dre on your linebacking core. So we'll see how that works out. But again, I think Dre is the one of these guys that will definitely be back. Next is 50-50 is Huff, and then almost for sure, Charvarius Ward is not going to be coming back to us. All right. That said, let's get into a couple of the guys. So one of the biggest needs that we have on this team going into this next season, we've got to find some help for George Kittle playing tight end. I think this is a great tight end draft. I think it's a pretty deep tight end draft. These two guys I'm going to show you first here are guys that can probably come in and start almost day one, play a lot of two tight end sets with George, give it that Gronkowski Hernandez kind of a vibe from back on the Patriots days. But yeah, so first we got Harold Fanning Jr. I keep wanting to call him Fanning for whatever reason. So I've got him out there. He's 6'3", 238. He's a little small on the size of a tight end, but he's quick. He's got great hands. Let me pull up this thing right here. Let's see. Right now, he is a second-round pick, being liked to Isaiah Likely. Let's see. He's got vertical athleticism to threaten defense up the seams, which is great. Obviously, we like to run those guys, George, up the middle quite a bit. Playmaking after the catch, good play strength, and functional agility in space. He's going to be a yak guy. If we get him in offense, he's definitely going to be a yak guy. Some of the negatives, obviously, with his size, he's not going to be the greatest blocker. But there is video of him out there blocking Abdul Carter, who's probably going to be one of the first 5 picks off the board. The defensive end out of Penn State. And he's holding his own against him. He's not necessarily dominating him, but he is definitely holding his own against him. So this would be my first target as far as if we got him in the second round, pick at number 43 or moved up a few spots to get him, would not be, depending on what we got in the first round, I would not be opposed to that kind of a move at all. All right. Then we go to I need more coffee, apparently. Mason Taylor, LSU, 6'5", 250, more of your prototypical George type of a tight end. He's got good hands. He's fast over the middle. Basically, he's the same thing as Fannin. Maybe not as much as the big playability, but he definitely can still make all those. Like I said, bigger body, a little bit of a better blocker than Fannin would be, but not necessarily as fast. Not as necessarily as explosive. But played in the position over at LSU where he got enough to where he could definitely be somebody I wouldn't mind seeing line up besides George. Another tight end I think everybody should be taking a look at. He's probably going to be someone who goes most likely in the 7th round, maybe even most honestly undrafted, is going to be the tight end out of Ohio State, G. Scott Jr. Now, a lot of this I'm saying this because G. Scott Sr. is a radio show host up here in Seattle, the G and Ursula show up here. He's also the host of the stadium events that go on at Seahawks games. But this is his son playing for Ohio State. Obviously, they just won the national championship. His G. Scott Jr. is a converted wide receiver, so he already has the hands, he has the speed, the playmaking ability for that position, and he's slowly starting to grow into his tight end body. So, like I said, that's someone to take a look at. Depending on what goes on at the combine, personal meetings, and everything like that. Maybe he slides into like a 7th, 6th round draft pick. Most likely at this point, I'm thinking he's going to have to be, an unrestricted free agent after the draft gets signed. But that's everything we have for you. Later on this afternoon, I believe me and Anshul, 49er Media, will be doing the Captain's 49ers show. Probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere in there. All depends on when he gets home from work. We'll do that show. And then to Nothing Actual on Niner Faithful Radio. But we'll be doing that tomorrow on Niner Faithful Radio. We will have our first mock draft that we'll be doing that. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, Faithful, 5 for Tide Lava. One love.